Hi, dads out there. Just to let you know that we're not going to have that gathering for dads and daughters next week, just with all the stuff going on. But in its place, I'm going to try to send out a series of short videos, at least weekly, that speaks to becoming a father and what God wants you to become, even as a man. But here's my belief: this shutdown of the schools and sports is giving you, as a father, the greatest opportunity that I have ever witnessed. I realize that many of you are still working, but you think of the evenings you are being forced together with your kids, and we need to view this as a lifetime opportunity with your children. So, on this first video surrounding fathers, I want to just give you some key realities for you as a dad. And my hope is that when we listen to these videos and as you dig into them a bit, and that you would be even talk to your wife about them, and you'd be open and honest, and really a frank discussion with her on that. She would give some input here as well. But one of the things that I hope for is that it would be spur you on in terms of your fathering, and to really begin conversations that lead to discipling your children. But listen to some of the facts here. The first actually comes from a seasoned Christian counselor and who was working with families for years and years. I used some of his stuff in the past or read one of his books. But he dealt with 39 girls who were suffering from anorexia. And it showed that 36 of them had one common denominator, and that was the withdrawal of affection of their father once puberty began with the girls. Huge issue. But it also points out that absent and emotionally absent fathers contribute to low motivation and even the inability to defer immediate gratification for later rewards. And it shows lower self-esteem in the kids, and far more susceptible group influence, peer pressure, and even juvenile delinquency is connected to some stats to the dads. But I don't know if you know this, but in evangelical churches, they've studied this. The average teen spends less than 2 minutes per day in meaningful conversations with a father. 2 minutes a day. That is not very much. But in evangelical churches, it also points out that only 16% of teens do regularly special things with their fathers on a consistent basis. And I think that's a challenge for dads in there. But think of some of the how a father influences our children. I don't know if you realize it, is that your personhood is the introduction to masculinity for boys and femininity for girls. You shape the children's view of love. Fathers tends to love, and it tends to be far more conditional than mother. And then there's this idea that it's kind of that's my boy and that's my girl validation. And those things are approval type events in the early years, and they are very different from a mom versus a dad. You influence profoundly there. And by the way, the stats would also point out that you profoundly impact your daughters in what they view and understand of becoming a woman. And it's really about letting them grow up. So you impact you impact the view of their world more than you can imagine. And to say it maybe even uniquely for daughters, you are shaping their femininity actually more than mom, some of the studies out there. And you are shaping your son's definition of masculinity more than mom. You set the tone in both those areas. In other words, you are such a huge part of shaping their understanding of their sexual identity. Now, I'm going to just leave it at that today, and I recognize that we're going to need to go deeper on some of these things. But I would just ask you, as you just look and hear these things, ponder, pray, prepare, and what does it mean to grow in becoming a godly father at this time? That's my challenge for you. So love your kids well today, and we'll over and out for today, and have a great evening. And as you move forward, and talk to your kids here tonight before they go to bed.